Well, our next living room conversation for this Sunday brunch are three powerful black women hailing from different parts of the country. The first is the minority leader of the Florida State House. Yes, I said Florida State House. Fentrice Driskell. Someone that has been a great partner for years, who is now leading EveryTown for gun safety, is Angela Ferrell-Zabala. And we just realized this is my sister girl, for real. We just met in like real Zoom time, is running a powerful organization that is moving billions of dollars politically and for our charities across this country, is Regina Wallace-Davis from ActBlue. We'll also know all Deltas. In a pink and green. Just want to throw that out there. I just looked over. I was like, well, ain't that something? See, they had to have a moment now. I done connected them. I love you. So certainly, what I'm excited about this conversation is everybody has a role to play. And so learning a little more about Regina over the last year, she literally embodies a little bit of all of us, right? She's an organizer. She was a candidate. She was an elected leader. She's smart. She's in tech. And she certainly knows how to organize, an organization that has transformed how we support our candidates. And we spend a lot of time going, what does it really mean for black women to harness our political stewardship? Angela spends a lot of time on an issue that I think is dear to all of us, right? How are we ensuring that our communities are safe, right? And then this, I don't even know the stat yet because I haven't run it yet. It's going to be in our next report. You've got to be the youngest, minority leader right? You've got to be. Or at least black woman, more. Yeah. We'll do some real research. Next year I'll have, the fact, factually. But for you to have rised, when you talk about people say, it's not your turn. So you ran, it wasn't your turn, and you certainly then, and I spent 8 years in the state legislature in New York, where it takes a while to get in leadership, and the notion that your colleagues voted for you. So these are the three women are going to talk about the importance of how black women move our voices, how we move our votes, how we move our money. And so I will start with money. A good example of why New Orleans still keeps their doors open is the power of black women coming to the city and the economic stimulus of black women in the city. So share a little bit about what do we need to do in this moment to flex our political power by using our resources. And I think what's important, and I'll just do it, is small change makes a big difference. And so share a little bit about black women's political power from our pocketbooks.
Absolutely. Can you hear me? Am I on now? Okay. Thank you for the question. So let me just do a couple of top-level stats for the room just so that we're clear, because a lot of times when I walk into a room that looks like me and I say ActBlue, everyone's looking at me like, what is she talking about and what is that? So ActBlue is an organization, ActBlue, it's even better, is an organization that has existed for 20 years. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary. And prior to the point, because remember 2004 was sort of an inflection point for the consumer internet. Prior to that point, political campaigns and causes were largely driven by big dollar donors who were declaring who they wanted and what they wanted and really owning the message of campaigns. The average gift on the ActBlue platform is less than $40. We have moved $14 billion for Democrats and progressives nationwide in that period of time. And our belief is that it's about what we say. It's about what the small dollar donors collectively come together to say in support of candidates, period. There's like a period on that sentence. So when we look at black candidates and black women specifically, one of the things that we know and can see with very clear eyes is that when she gets to the top of the ballot, when she is a marked member of Congress that everybody loves and that wants to move on to a Senate seat, or when she is a marked state leader that we want to move on to a national position, or when she is a marked leader that we want to run for the highest office in the land, that when she runs, she raises an incredible amount of money. And one of the proof points that I put here is just looking at Sherry Beasley, Val Demings, Stacey Abrams. These are candidates that raised a remarkable amount of money and in many cases outraised their competition, which speaks much to the power of rooms like this who are saying, I'm going to forego my coffee for the week for this candidate. I'm going to forego my small dollar change that I might otherwise place in a luxury for myself and declare what I want to see for this nation. And that's a powerful thing. What we also see is when we start to move down the ticket, and why it is so important for me to be in rooms like this, is that we have many, many more candidates at the local, at the state, in between that at the supervisor level that don't have quite as much financial power behind them. What we're doing as an organization is meeting them there with products that will support them. And what we need our community to do is to meet us there to give them the fuel that they need to win in the same way that we can see winning at the top. So we are like incredible conviction around this because we believe that black women speak, particularly Democratic and progressive black women, because that's who I'm unapologetic about that. I don't try to be nonpartisan. That when we speak, that we speak with clear eyes. When black women speak, we have the ability to influence black men. When black women speak, we have the ability to influence white women. When black women speak, we have the ability to influence a nation. And so in this election in particular, knowing that we have the clearest eyes of all, it's not enough for us to just say, I'm going to give them my vote. What we have to be saying is, I'm going to give them my voice. I'm going to give them my dollars. I'm going to give them my time, because with clear eyes, we know what we're fighting for.
That's right.
Clear eyes, we know what we're fighting for. And we need the many to be influenced by us to get the outcome that the nation needs from us.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So I would share.
Yes. We'll share.
We will hello.
Share that oftentimes it is hard for black women to raise money, right? Those are examples of a lot of hard work over the last 10 years, right? Historically, black women, according to our research with the Center for American Women in Politics, are three things. Women are not encouraged to run for office. Black women are actually actively discouraged for running for office. Black women historically have struggled to raise money, but in 10 years have shown that we can raise more money than our counterparts. That not only is it small donors, but large donors are now understanding the importance of black women's political leadership. Now, the new carrot is that there are people who are wealthy, who are white, and who are male, who are spending hundreds of millions of dollars of their own money to run for office. And so, Minority Leader, share a little bit about, you know, who you are, because I don't think many of you may know who you are, but what is the importance for us to support you, not only from a financial perspective, but that 365-day a year. Like, it is hard to pass policy when you have to as a legislator, you've got to organize your colleagues. And so having Black women from your district, constituents from your districts, but frankly, like, why does she matter? Black women from this country helping you to lead in Florida helps this country be better.
Does this one work? Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you so much. Good afternoon. You look so beautiful. As was mentioned, I'm Fentrice Driskell. I have the honor of leading the Minority Caucus, or the Democratic Caucus, because I don't try to be that either, in Florida. And I know Florida. I know. We're trying, y'all. What you need to know is that there are some people on the ground in Florida who are fighting. And you need to know that actually most Floridians aren't at the extremes. Most people really are in the middle, and they care about affordability issues, which we know is the top issue for Black women as well. So I'm a Florida native. That's part of why I fight so hard. I just can't let them have it. It doesn't sit well with me to have been a little Black girl growing up in like a rural part of the state and feeling better about our prospects in the 70s and 80s and 90s than I do today. And this is why we must fight. So I'm a product of public schools. I went to Harvard for undergrad, made a little history there. I was the first Black student elected student government president while at Harvard. I got bitten by the political bug really early in a program called Florida Girl State. Are y'all familiar with Girl State, Boy State? Yeah, these programs. I was governor of Girl State. I'm pretty sure I was the first Black woman to do that. And now fast forward, I'm the first Black woman to lead either party in the Florida House of Representatives. So I know a little bit about tough jobs and obstacles and fighting through those anyway. In Florida, we say that every Floridian deserves the freedom to be healthy, prosperous, and safe. And indeed, that is what we fight for. We are in the minority, but as leader, I wear two hats. The first is that, yes, I direct the policy, our amendment strategy, how we're going to push back, what's our platform, et cetera. But beyond that, I fight for the political. I lead our political team. We are in the super minority right now, which means we've fallen below a third of representation in the House. We have a competent plan to break the Republican supermajority. This means, Glynda, that we have to flip 5 seats. 5 seats. I have 4 I have to protect. I have 5 I have to flip. As leader, I've changed things up a bit. I literally travel the country meeting with donors, telling them a new story about Florida, telling them about how we are fighting back and getting their investment. As leader, I've been able to set fundraising records, funds that our caucus have never seen before. So to your point about how Black women are doing with the fundraising, we are doing it. We are on fire. Doesn't mean I don't need your help, though, because it's a tall task. And even with setting these records, you'd be surprised to know that my candidates, I know they're going to get outspent at least 2-to-1 and 3-to-1. I'm just trying to keep it as competitive as I can. So what can you do? Actually, you can visit my leadership campaign account on ActBlue at Fentrice4FL. You can search my name and find me on that platform and give just a little bit, because it matters. In Florida, they have taken us to a near total abortion ban. Near total, before most women even know that they are pregnant. You cannot get the health care that you need. And we hear the stories, the women with means are still traveling out of state to get the health care they need. It's hurting women who are under-resourced, and it's hurting our community the worst. We have to fight. We have too many brothers in Florida who have been locked up for marijuana convictions. Marijuana. And now there's an entire medical marijuana industry where folks are making like buku money. We're in New Orleans, I can say that, right? Louisiana, buku money, right? We have a chance to protect abortion rights on the ballot this fall and to approve adult use of marijuana, but it must come with decriminalization. These are the things that we are fighting for in the state of Florida. Those are some of the ways how you can help me. I'm going to ask for 3 more things, though, because I believe in being really specific, really specific. If you could please search my name on ActBlue and you have any change that you can spare, please give financially. If you can find me on social media and follow me there and help amplify our message. Every Tuesday night we do a live stream. I'm always looking for guests to come on and talk about the importance of voting. That's all we talk about, really, is the importance of voting. So if any of you would be willing to come, Congresswoman, I'm going to just take my chance. If you'd be willing to come, Glynda, if you'd be willing to come, if y'all know people who can come and help us to amplify this message, because what we're finding is that there is a lack of voter education. And people are getting bad information and disinformation, and we have to fight that. And then the third thing I would say is you probably have some sort of a special gift or talent. You know what it is. If you could think about candidates in your area who you could help and support, I promise you they need whatever offering it is that you have to give to the world. Help a candidate today, particularly our Black women candidates. It would go a long way.
Thank you for your leadership. So Higher Heights did some polling back in March. And as I mentioned, Black women are issue voters. And so our pollster was like, you know, your top, we had to push Black women to go, what's their top tiered issue? Black women want economically thriving, educated, healthy, and safe communities, right? And so this year's election is about our pocketbook issues. So yes, we've made some gains. We're making, you know, slightly more money. We have access to more capita. They're, you know, our small businesses are doing really well. This is a good example of that. But the rise in the cost is hitting our pocketbooks. But we're also very concerned about our safety. And that's Angela's work, right? It's not just, you know, safety from, people that may live in our homes. It's safety walking down the street. It is, you know, a growing number of mass shootings. The question is, it is an issue that is very politically toxic, right? And very divided about, rights. But we have the right to be safe. So Angela, let's share a little bit about your work and kind of how we can connect not only the importance of like putting the right legislators and executives into place to ensure that our communities are safe.
Thank you, Glynda, and thank you. But it's just incredible to be up here with these incredible leaders. Let me just paint this picture for you first before we dive in. What are we facing? A public health crisis like no other, y'all. We got twin epidemics. We have gun violence and we have white supremacy, and together it is dangerous for us. It is dangerous for us. Every single day we lose at least 34 Black people in this country, every single day. Every single day. We're a nation of survivors, where over 56% of people in this country identify as either themselves or someone they care and love about as face gun violence. We are 12 times more likely to be shot and killed than our white counterparts. Our children, this is the leading cause of death for kids, teens, and young adults in this country, and Black kids, 17 times more likely than their white peers. A Black boy or teenager dies every 7 hours, is shot and killed every 7 hours in this country. Every 7 hours. And for police violence, we're 3 times more likely than our white peers. It's a lot. It's heavy, y'all. It's heavy, y'all. And it's not just what we see on the news, the mass shootings or the things that get the national headlines. It's the daily gun violence. It's the daily gun violence. And even beyond that, it's the trauma that's left in our communities. The trauma. All of you know it and feel it yourselves. Whether we have survivors, which I'm sure we do, in this very room right now, and my heart goes out. We are all secondhand survivors in many ways. So our work is to, number one, make sure that we're elevating this and making sure people know what is at stake. And that there are actual solutions to this. This is why it's so frustrating, y'all, because it's not like a car accident's happening or cancer. We can actually do something about this. We have solutions, data-driven, proven ways to end this crisis. When I was coming from the airport to come down for Essence Fest, and I remember the taxi driver was talking, because I think an ad came on the radio, and he just mentioned that as of July 1st, this state, they have concealed permitless carry. What does that mean, y'all? That means you don't need a background check. You get a gun, you can put in your waistband and walk around the street. Now, this is a trend that's happening across this country. across this country. So we're making sure that people understand, they know that they need to speak up, they need to share their stories. We need to elevate the most disproportionately impacted communities, which are black and brown. It's not just homicide, y'all, either. We got domestic violence is a big deal. We just had the Supreme Court, thank God, they did something when it comes to the Rahimi case, which said that someone that is subject to a domestic violence restraining order, they were challenging this. The federal law said they could not have access to a firearm. The Fifth Circuit, which is Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas, challenged that with a person that had no business having a firearm to say, even if he has threatened, stalked, harmed, shot his gun, beat people up, he still has a right to have a firearm. A woman with a partner that is abusing her is 5 times more likely to be shot and killed. 5 times. On average, 70 per month we're losing. And the last thing I'll say, it's not all disparity, y'all, I promise. We have a crisis, especially with our young people, when it comes to suicide. Gun suicide is gun violence. So we are getting our leaders out here. We are, our volunteers, we're all over this country, Moms and Men Action, every state plus DC where I'm from, and we are running them for office. And so I give lots of honor and thanks to Shante and Emerge and to Higher Heights doing this incredible work, because we have to build the bench of people who have the courage to get up and fight for our communities. We know what we need, y'all. We just need leaders to get up and do the right thing. So we are going to be out here making sure supporting incredible people and candidates that are doing this work, because we know that our lives are worth more than this. Our lives, our children's lives are worth more than this. And so that's what we're doing across this country. We're getting loud, whether it's federal, state, or hyper local. We're there and we're out here. Red shirts, y'all, look for us.
So, Regina, what are you reading?
Well, there's 3 things that I'm reading. The first is that this panel that you've assembled is incredible. And I said to myself, it is no mistake that black women have been chosen to lead in all cases. I'm going to go back to the clear-eyed voice. That's number 1. The second is that the ways that we clarify for ourselves and for each other what issues we need to care about actually matters. And I even feel enriched by the conversation that we've had today. The third, obviously, is deep gratitude, because 1, 2, 3 of these individuals raise on ActBlue, which is good for Democrats and progressives all around. My general perspective is that this is a moment when we cannot lean back. This is a moment that we have to lean in hard. And I said after the debate, as my phone blew up and my email blew up and my LinkedIn and social media and everything blew up, because I'm a former local official who really prided myself on being accessible, that this is not a moment when we bend our back and shy away from what we're fighting for. This is a moment where we straighten our back and with conviction help re-clarify for everybody else what we're here for. So be it an issue, because as you said, many of us are issue voters, or be it a party and its candidates, because I want for this room to appreciate that almost 40% of Democrats look like the people in this room, even if we are only 13% of the population. And the reason for that is that we vote as a collective block, which means that we're showing up at double the strength of our participation in the overall population. We can't take that for granted. That actually matters. So our ability to leverage that to really influence those around us to get the outcomes that this nation needs is upon us. I feel clear about that. I hope you do too.
Like, what's your read of the moment?
So my read is that while I gave a lot of stats that many of us know, and they're really shocking, they're really horrific, We live through these every single day. There is absolute hope. I travel all across this country, from the reddest to the blue states, purple states. It doesn't matter. People are fed up and sick and tired. It doesn't even actually matter. You might want to believe otherwise, but even political party doesn't matter, because people don't want to drop their babies off at school and never see them again. People don't want their kids walking to the corner store and never seeing them again. People don't want to be burying their relatives and loved ones like we are, at the rates that we are. So people are fed up. They just don't know what to do. Because, again, the disinformation, everything that they're hearing, they feel almost there's inertia. Like, what can I possibly do? It's almost inevitable. Everyone's going to have a gun. It's just going to happen. When I was in, this was last year, I went to an advocacy day with Moms Demand Action and partner organizations on the ground in Austin, Texas. And I was there with the survivors of Uvalde. And the legislature was actually, instead of doing the proactive things that we know will save lives, like taking guns off the streets, banning assault weapons, all the things that we know, making sure that they are calling for secure storage. We're not against people owning a gun, but you got to be responsible. You need a background check. You need to secure that gun. What were they fighting for? To send your kids home with tourniquets so that they learn how to apply them when a shooting happens in their school. What the hell is that? As black women, we should be furious. Those are our kids. All of those kids are our kids, and there is no way in hell that we're going to let that happen. So I say we get up, we stand up, we show up, we get loud, we tell our stories, we knock, we scream. We've always done this, y'all. We have always done this. We are here because we've always done this. So it's no different. I just think we have to make sure, and particularly with our young people, I have 4 children. I'm tired, y'all. My oldest will be 23, and then I have an 8 and a 6-year-old. But my twins are 23, boy and a girl. My daughter, because of reproductive rights and gun violence and environment, she's ready. She's like, tap me in, coach. I'm going to get out here and do my thing. My son, he sees it, but he's not connecting to the leaders. He's focusing on the things that he shouldn't be necessarily focusing on. He can have questions, but we have to make sure that our young people have the tools, the information, and that they are leading. They are leading. So I think that's where we are. Get those young people out. Talk to your grandmama, your mama, your cousin. Get us all out like we always do, because we are going to save this election. But we have to step up and do that. We have to step up and do that.
Yeah. Thank you. And my read of the moment, I actually want to pick up right where you left off, which is that in spaces like this, it is so enriching, but we tend to be the folks who eat, breathe, and live this. And there are a lot of folks in our families, in our communities, who are not energized about this election. It's especially conversations with young people that I have across the state and really across the country, where they tell me they don't want to vote. And I think we have to be prepared to have those conversations and engage in a little of what we know to be relational organizing, which is just a fancy way of saying leveraging the power of your own network, leveraging the power of your own stories to try to persuade people to do the thing they need to do, which is to vote. And I think we have to, and I thank you for sharing those facts and figures. We have to get a little vulnerable and talk about how these bad policies are impacting us. I'm a big believer that with stories, we'll figure out, they enable people to figure out how much more they have in common beyond party, beyond geography. In Florida, I mean, it's the voters that we talk about who vote against their own interests. Well, you have to be able, people have to know that you care about their interests before you can persuade them otherwise. So getting vulnerable. And it can be, you know, that bad policy on abortion, man, that really is hurting me. And I would like to have a child, but I'm afraid of what might happen if I find myself in crisis. Or it could be, you know what, the way that these property insurance rates are going and rent is too damn high, it was really difficult for me to afford a home. We have to get vulnerable and talk to people about these issues. And what I find with young people is that if we engage them on the issues, that's how you draw them out. They're concerned about their future. They're concerned about debt. They're concerned about finding good jobs. But oftentimes they don't connect the dots in terms of why it matters then that you elect somebody okay, at the state legislative level that invest in affordable housing, or at the school board level that can help with these policies and try not to ban all these books. They don't understand why it matters to elect people in Congress who can approve the infrastructure package that brings all the good jobs. We have to help connect the dots for people. So that's my read, is that I'm so glad and grateful that at Essence we are able to be fed and to be re-energized. And let us go forward from this space boldly, willing to share our stories and to engage in those conversations, because it is going to be like one-on-one combat. I don't like that. It sounds a little violent, but you know what I mean. Maybe basketball, it's man-to-man coverage, all right? And it's going to take all of us. But I believe in us, and I know that we can do it.
We certainly have proven, thank you, that we are, collectively stronger together. And so that is the work. So welcome to your political home. If this is the first time you've come to a Higher Heights experience, we brunch hard. We will be brunching to and into and out of Election Day. And so we are going to be your go-to source in Election Center, the hub. We are under renovation on our online, but when we relaunch shortly, it is a place where you're going to be able to be fueled on and offline around Black women's issues. Oftentimes you get so much information, right, Erin, that you don't know which article to read. We're going to be like, here are the 4 reads for the week. Here are the 4 thoughts. What say you, right? We are growing a network of 1 million Black women across this country. This year, our thing is, how do we engage and work with the 255,000 Black women in our network and ask them to go have that conversation at dinner, at lunch, or at brunch with 5 of their people. And if we just bring 5, if 250,000 people bring 5, right, we in strategic areas, we will be able to change the face of democracy while we save democracy. Black women are the architects of this modern day democracy, and we stand on the legacies of the Harriet Tubmans and the Fannie Lou Hamers. I mean, there are big names, but Fannie Lou Hamer was a sharecropper who sat in the back of a church and got fired up that day. And so we're looking for the sister who's in the back of this room ready to be fired up as an advocate, as a policy analyst, as a writer, as an elected official. And so thank you for joining us. Go visit our closet, go shopping. There's a pin that says #BlackWomenLead. It's a gold, beautiful pin. If you just invest in that one pin, you'll rock Black women wherever you go. It goes with everything unless you're wearing silver, but we're about to roll out silver as well. Or rock one of our t-shirts. Go take a picture at our phone book booth. Follow us on social media at Higher Heights, and share and grow our network of Black women. So thank you to Erin Haynes from the 19th for joining us. Congresswoman Joyce Beatty for giving us the Black Woman Lead sermon for this cycle. Thank you to the Minority Leader, Fentrice Driskell, for her leadership. And thank you to our 2 partners, Angela Ferrell-Zabala from EveryTown for gun safety, and my new best friend in my head, Angela Wallace-Davis from ActBlue. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next Sunday brunch.